Hi, welcome to Advanced Math, Chapter 12 on Vectors, Part E, page 6, the last page where we figure out yet another angle formed by the roof of the Yorkshire Canary cage. We've done one angle, that's at corner of vertex A, and now we're going to do the adjacent one at corner B. Same process, same process. We're going to start with, so we need two vectors that are including point B. So we have a vector AB, but we want both of our vectors to start at B so that we're using the angle between them. If we're sort of imagine them being put together tail to tail, forming an angle. So to get vector BA from AB, you just make it negative, and that's pretty straightforward. So all I'm going to do is write down the negativized components of AB and call that BA. So we have 0, negative 18, and 3.6, 16, 0, 4.8 for vector BC. And we have the lengths of these edges. Remember, the length of BA should be the same as the length of AB because they're just negatives of each other. So 18.35 feet and then 16.70 for BC. All right, so the explanation for what we're doing next is really covered well, I think, in the previous video, so I'm not going to go into it again. I'm just going to do the math. So cosine of theta b, that's the angle formed at vertex B on the roof, is going to be 0 times 16. We're just taking the like components of those edge vectors and multiplying and summing. Minus 18 times 0 plus 3.6 times 4.8 all over the product of the lengths. And that's cosine of the angle is equal to that. So we do the inverse cosine. Um, so cosine of theta b and just the, this is that fraction evaluated. So we take the inverse cosine of that and we'll get about 86 point, this is really approximately 86.8 degrees. Now you might remember that theta b or theta a was 93.2 degrees. Do you notice a relationship between these two angles? Yeah, they add up to 180. And you may recall from geometry, thinking about the side lengths that we found for this roof, that the opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So our roof is a parallelogram, and for a parallelogram, adjacent angles are supplemental, and opposite angles are congruent. So according to geometry, we don't have to go through this process. In fact, we didn't even have to go through this page at all. Once we knew that the opposite sides were congruent, we had a parallelogram on our hands, and we knew one angle. All the rest of them were figured out for us. At any rate, that means we can short circuit some of this work and right away say that angle C should equal angle A, which equals 93.2 degrees, and that angle D should equal angle B, or 86.8 degrees. And we have now figured out the angles formed at all four edges of all four corners of the roof, and we can now tell Zach to go and build that birdcage. Ha, how about that? A practical use for mathematics. Imagine that.